What's up everyone, Lucas here from Spotlight Recovery. Today we're going to be talking about morning routines. So this is going to be the first video I'm making in a series called 24 Hours a Day. It's all going to be focused on different daily practices and routines that you can get into to help prevent relapse and start getting just a more peaceful and enjoyable day in recovery. So there's a lot of different things we're going to talk about. I want to tell you what my routine used to look like when I first started recovery, what it's looked like now, a couple of different options for you. Check below in the description. There's a link to a Google Doc written down of all of these points and things that you can do for morning routines. And just to give you some ideas, take what you like, make it your own. I mean, this is one of my favorite things about recovery is that it's so personal, right? I mean, you get to make recovery yours. Make a morning routine something that you enjoy and like and is a good positive start to your day. I mean, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it. So make it enjoyable for yourself. That's the whole point of all of this. Throughout these video series, I can't stress that enough. Take these parts that you like, that you feel could work for you, give them a try, and build your own routines out of this. Make it something good for you. Recovery is so much about that self-work. So keep that focus when you're doing this. I don't know about you, but back when I was using in my worst days, I mean, every morning I would have the same two thoughts. The first thought would be, damn it, because I woke up, which meant I was still alive, and I really didn't want to be. And the second thought was, how am I going to get through this day? I would have those same two thoughts every single morning in addiction. And of course, when you have those thoughts, what's the first thing you do? Go use. I'm right off in my addiction, just giving in all that, trying to cope with those thoughts and those feelings because that was all I knew how to do. So if I would start my day off first thing in addiction and addict and unhealthy thinking, I need to start my day off in recovery. So what my morning routine looked like, I was in a recovery home. We'd have to come down for like 8 o'clock roll call, check in, and really we're checking to make sure everybody's sober in the house, which was very important. But I'd sit and have a coffee with the guys. After that, I would go back upstairs to my room and I would have 4 different daily reflections books, like morning meditations that I would sit and read through. And I also had a journal that I would, when I would read a reflection, something that I liked that stood out to me, I would then write and take my favorite parts out of that and copy and put them in my journal. So I was starting to build like my own personalized daily reflections book, which was really cool. I've got it sitting over on my desk. It is completely full. Page to page, I filled up this whole thing. And I've got the second one on the go right now, actually. So I would sit and do that. After that, I would engage in a morning yoga routine and then also do some meditation after. One of the most important things that I've learned in recovery is calm the body and the mind will follow. That was huge for me. I've always been a pretty high energy, like anxious person, and especially from PTSD, I would a lot of times be in like fight or flight mode, always on. And so that was so important for me, is to learn by calming my body down is what started to really help then calm down my head, my thoughts, my mind, slow those racing thoughts. I mean, that was such a big reason as to why I would use this, because I would wake up in that insanity and my mind would be going so fast. So starting my day off with yoga, with meditation was so important and crucial for me to be able to start slowing these things down. So I would do all of that. And I also, as part of my routine back in the day, was I would call my sponsor every morning. That was one of them as well. I got a sponsor who either would let me call them every morning or who told me to call them every morning. So that was part of that routine too. I'm connecting with somebody who's farther along in a recovery program, who has a program that I want, a life that I look up to, and I'm calling and connecting with that person every day, first thing in the morning, just looking for that guidance, just connecting to someone else in my recovery network. If it's not my sponsor, it's another friend in the program, somebody who's a good support system. Same thing early on, making that connection and the action to start my day in recovery has been very important. That's another thing I've learned with all of this, because so much of why I used was, how do I change my thinking, or how do I just shut the noise off in my head because it's too loud? And one of the most important things I've learned in recovery is you cannot think your way into right action. You have to act your way into right thinking. So that's why these morning routines are so important, because I am starting my day with positive action, new routines, new habits that are all contributing to building a life in recovery. I'm not getting up and engaging in old addict behavior the way that I used to. I am getting up and engaging in recovery-oriented behavior. We're creatures of habit. You build and work on a new habit, we tack onto them pretty quickly. So these are just other supporting reasons as to why this is so important. And then what I had to work on over time, because I was very resistant to it, was prayer. And don't hit the stop button. I don't want you to close the video because of that word. It was a huge trigger and a tough one for me too. Prayer, the word. I'm a very spiritual person, and I've developed that through recovery. Not religious, spiritual. And what I'd found was really important for me through this process was that in addiction, you feel so alone. You feel so alone and disconnected from everything, the world outside. Even if you have people in your life or relationships, you feel no connection to them, like they're not even there. You just feel so by yourself. And having and building a concept of faith, prayer, I was learning to connect with things outside of me. So even if we're just thinking the universe, because I would sit and use by myself alone, or even if people were there, I would feel alone. So instead now in recovery, first thing in the morning, I'm starting my day off connecting with the outside world, with everything that I was completely disengaging from in my use. I'm now making that conscious connection, making that effort, taking action to try to connect with just something bigger than me. So that was really, I can't stress enough, it was a lot of work. It took about 6 months coming into recovery by all like the old timers telling me to do this and me no, and being all resistant until I finally gave it a shot and just really found some peace with it. So be it to the universe, whatever it may be, just taking a quiet moment and time just to reflect and connect with the rest of the world and something bigger than you really helped me a lot. It helps me start to center my day. That connects very much with meditation. Because same thing, I mean, that was nearly impossible for me to start off with. I mean, God, you take somebody who's been an addict for years, living in fear, always high energy, on alert and everything, and then tell them, okay, sit down, be quiet, and breathe, and just sit with your thoughts. I mean, that sounds terrifying. It was hard. It was really hard and a lot of work, and my meditation practices started with 3 breaths. I would be like, okay, I will do this. You're getting 3 breaths out of me, and that's it. That is all I can do. But hey, it was 3 more breaths than I did prior to coming into recovery, and then the 3 became 4, became 5, now we're going into seconds, 30 seconds, a minute. I mean, really, it was an amazing experience for me to go through, and it was really important for me to get up and work at calming my mind and my body down first thing in the morning, so that when I'm waking up, I am not, panicky thinking, okay, I have to use to cope with these feelings. To cope with the insanity and the noise in my head, I am proactively getting up and starting my day in a recovery practice right away. So I'm already fighting against relapse and against the potential of use. I'm setting my day up for a really positive day in recovery, and it's so important to me. And the last thing I gotta mention is that whole routine, I would spend 2 hours doing that every morning, like 8 to 10. 2-hour routine, all of that. Reading reflections, yoga, prayer, meditation, connecting with the other guys in the house. And I know it sounds a lot, and you hear me, it'd be like 2 hours, what the hell? But I mean, I was just sober, I was in community house, I was on social assistance, I wasn't working. So what else am I gonna be doing that is more important with my time than working a recovery program? And that's an important thing to ask yourself, if you're able to do that. I get that is very not feasible for a lot of people. It's sure not now for me. That was just early days when I was trying to rack up a couple of days sober so I wouldn't relapse and could start building some time of sobriety. When I was working full-time jobs, having to get to work for 7, 8 in the morning or something, now we're talking a few years down the road. I've been practicing that morning routine that I told you for years. That all becomes then very condensed, and from 2 hours, we're squished pushing down into like 10 or 15 minutes of that time. Yes, I get up, have my coffee, have a good breakfast, and then I do a recovery reading. I've built a daily reflections group chat, so then I would share that with other people, so I'm connecting with others. 5 minutes of prayer, 5 minutes of meditation, and then up and out the door. My job was a lot more physical that time too, so that was a good way to kind of be releasing anxiety and energy as I would go. So that's a very different version when you're working a full-time job to have to cram it in there, but it was still so important that I would make that time and do it to be starting my day in recovery. And I gotta tell you, if I miss my morning routine, I notice, people around me notice, like it is a big difference what those few minutes or that time in the morning you take for yourself can make for the rest of your day. So what they look like now is I get up, I'll make myself a nice cup of coffee, have a good breakfast. I've got a great morning playlist that I've been building over time, just nice, calm, chill music to start my day off with while I'm having that breakfast. And then a lot of the same things are there. I will do a daily reflection reading. I'll share that with friends in recovery. I will then meditate on what I have read. I'll do my prayers, and then I'll work out. And 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, that's what my days are looking like. Weekends, I'm pretty much still doing the same things. I don't have to set an alarm, which is really nice, but I'll do those same things, and that's what it looks like for me now. A couple other great ones that people love to do that I've heard, get up and get outside, go for a little walk in your neighborhood if you can, or get some fresh air right away. Do some gardening, either if you have that space outside or just with some house plants. You're connecting with nature right away. I cannot stress enough how important a good morning routine is. These have been such a huge cornerstone almost for me to really help ensure that I'm building a good daily recovery practice. So if there's anything that I've missed or that really helps you in your morning routines, comment below, share it. Tell us what helps you. What are great morning practices for you that have been really helpful? That comment could really help change somebody's life. So please put them down there. Let us know what works for you. Be sure to check out that Google Doc of all the different things that I've listed just to give you some ideas and examples. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share these videos with your friends to help build the channel and support this community. And if you can, please consider becoming a patron to really support the channel to ensure it can keep growing and we can keep helping others in recovery. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you later.